Welcome back to Naval Action, and I thought today we'd take the opportunity to have a little look at the ships that you're probably going to start off with in your first few days or couple of weeks of playing Naval Action. So we're going to look at the cutter, the starter ship, through to the Cerberus, and just talk about some of the pros and cons of each ship and what you should know. So everybody starts off in the cutter, so let's grab the cutter up. This is the cutter, and those of you who've played open world, you know this is the starter ship there. Now in Naval Action Legends, really your goal is to get out of the cutter as quickly as possible. You can tell how to do that by looking at the brig here. So it tells you how much experience you need to get a brig. It's about 1,000, 1,200 points, 1,117 points. Which in a cutter is 6 great games, 10 average games, and loads of really crap games. Now, a lot of folks go, oh, the cutter, it's crap, it's crap. Actually, the cutter's quite overpowered, given it's a pile of pants. And the reason it's overpowered is it's still got 6 guns on the side, so that's only 2 less than a brig. It can pen. Even with just its 6-pound longs, you can change your weapon loadout. Even with its 6-pound longs, 6-pound longs will pen a 73-inch hull at 250 meters. The Cerb is a 57-inch hull, or centimeters. I don't know what the unit of measure is there. We'll guess it's centimeters because the distance is in meters. So you can pen anything. You're also an absolute pain in the arse. The cutter sits really low in the water. It's below the second deck of most ships. And it's fast, 12.23 knots. It can turn 7.18. That is 40% better at turning than any other ship. It doesn't really care that much about which way the wind's going. Yes, you can get caught in the wind, but to be honest, in a cutter, you sort of deserve it. What does that say, Cerberus, Jeheil? I have no idea. There we go, cutter. So it can pen pretty much any ship in the 6 we're reviewing today, all the way up to the Cerb. You will need a flush shot, so you'll need to be side on side, and you shouldn't be close. So a good tip, by the way, is as you're approaching an enemy, say you're 500 meters away, get your telescope out, shift, and have a little look at the side of the ships. If you can't see cannons sticking out, it's night time actually on this at the moment, but you might be able to make out. If you can't see cannons sticking out the side of the boat, then they're wielding carronades. If you can see them sticking out a little bit, then they're either longs or mediums. Now, if they've got carronades at 250 meters, they're not going to be able to pen you. If we have a quick look, if we go to say the Cerb, which is a beast, and we have a look at the carronades there. So it can pen at 250 meters, but it's drunk as far as accuracy is concerned. It's like an epileptic octopus trying to fire a shotgun. It sprays all over the place. So at 250 meters, it's going to struggle to get shots on target. Yes, they're going to hurt when they do. If you're up against other cutters, I would highly recommend firing all 6 of your shots into the enemy and then just spinning round and firing the 6 from the other side, so you just wear one side of your enemy down, and just rinse and repeat, to be honest. And I would even do that against a bigger ship, but you might want to work on its backside. You can stern camp anything in a cutter. They're very, very pesky. If you're in a group and for some reason there's bigger ships in there and you're in the cutter, you might need to do some chain work and some raking where you sail across the back of the enemy's ship and shoot them up the jacksy to kill crew and, more importantly, kill cannons. Now, you can kit your ship out, but really your goal here is just to get out of this as quickly as possible. So whether or not you want to spend money on officers, so you can buy officers for your boat, but they cost money, is really up to you. You might want to save your money so you can buy the next ship and get out of there as quickly as possible, really. So that's the cutter. It's a great little ship. It's stupid because it's kind of a lifeboat for most of the other ships, but it's not as bad as everyone makes out. I wouldn't bother trying to sail close and bang people with carronades. It does get carronades. You start off with £4, you graduate to £6, and then you end up with £12 carrows. But I wouldn't bother with the carrows unless you're having a troll. Instead, I would stick with the £6 longs as soon as you get them and enjoy yourself spinning around banging on the side of other cutters. Now, once you're out of the cutter, and it doesn't take that long, half a dozen games, 8 games, once you're out of the cutter, you get a brig. And the brig's a good boat. It's a little bit lighter now, so you can just see the black there, outline of the cannon sticking out. That's because I've got longs on this. Now it can go up to £18 carronades, which are just brutal. And you'll see now I've got carrows on. You can't see the cannons sticking out the side of my boat. It can go up to £18 carronades, which really do deal damage, but they are close quarters stuff. But it says Cerberus again. It's drunk. There we go. But the brig is a pretty good boat. It's competitive really all the way up, as long as you don't play with a carronaded merc or a carronaded Cerb. You can do damage to pretty much anything on the water. It's quick, 12.35 knots. Its hull has got 41 inches of armour and 1875 hit points, if you like, health, which is pretty good. And you jump to 110 crew. Now 110 crew isn't great. Most of the ships are toting around the 120, 130 region until you get to the Cerb. So it's all right for boarding cutters and stuff, but you'd need the other person to have had their backside pretty much worked down before you try boarding anything in one of these. But the brig's all right. I would push it up as quick as you can to get the £12 carrows, and then try and earn as many points as you can by banging on the side of things at close range. You really get a lot more points for kills than you do assists. It's very lopsided, so a 1 kill 3 assists is what I would classify as a good game. Anything better than that is a great game. A lot of people will have a really good game, they'll get 5 assists and no kills, and you get pants all experience for it, which is a bit annoying. Now this runs with 8 cannons on each side. Like I say, it's pretty quick, so it's good for grabbing circles, it's good for grabbing the fort circle and stuff like that. The armour and the health is nothing to sniff at, and she's pretty good at turning at 5.64. Compare that though to the 7.18 of the cutter, and you'll see what I mean. The cutter's a spinning top really. So that's the brig. The next ship you'll get after the brig, and again it's all the same for these, it's like 6 to 8 good games or great games, 10 to 12 average games, and 1 billion shit games. The Navy brig is probably the best pound for pound ship until we get to the Cerb. So the Navy brig is sort of a pimped up brig, but it's slower and can't turn as well. So it's 11.77, quite a lot slower. A much poorer turning circle, but you see it's got 2100 health and 48 thickness, which, you know, that you have to overcome that thickness to penetrate a ship. It's also got a reasonably nice curve to it, so it bounces a lot of shots unless your enemy gets flush to you. If you compare it to the brig, they've got the same shape, but obviously the Navy paid extra money for the paint job. Well done, Her Majesty. Again, with the guns, really you want to get yourself up to those 18-pound carrows and then just sail along the side of things and absolutely spankertate them. This will massacre a snow hull on hull. It will give a merc a good run for its money, and it will hurt a Cerb. It's just a Cerb's got just ridiculous amounts of armor, so again, if you're running side to side with a Cerb, you're going to lose. But if you're running side to side with a Cerb and you're not in a better Cerb, you're going to lose. So the Navy brig is a pretty good boat. It's got 135 crew, so you could choose to tool this one up for boarding, and it would eat up the brigs easy enough, and obviously you'd have a good chance against the other Navy brigs if you were set for boarding. If you're playing with mates and they've just graduated to the Merc or Snow, the Navy brig is a good ship to play with them if you're ahead of them. You play with the Navy brig, that draws other Navy brigs into the game, into the matching, and they're in their Merc, so they'll sort of in theory be able to overpower them a bit. And you can pimp out your Navy brig a bit. I sort of, as you can see, I maxed out my Navy brig, and I've got this one set up for boarding, because that's always fun. So I've got pikes which help my boarding Marines. This is sort of my boarding setup. Marines, a gunner to help the lads shoot, gun sights because the carronades spray all over the plonkers, planking because who doesn't want extra hull and extra thickness, the magazine, the quicker you reload the more damage you can do, and then Marines and pikes and the Marines officer as a way of boosting my opportunity to successfully pull off a board, which when you've got 300 and something ping is a challenge at the best of times. Now, once you're out the Navy brig, you do get a little bit of a shock, because this is quite tanky, the Navy brig. It's probably until you get to the Cerb or a pimped out Merc, the best tank of these first 6 ships. When you get to the Merc, and the Mercury's a nice looking boat, have a look at that, isn't that lovely? It feels like you could go on holiday. Now the Merc's reasonably quick. I thought it was a quicker boat, 11.85, but very importantly you'll notice it's only got the same crew as the Navy brig, and it's got significantly less armour and thickness at 45 and 1875. So the Navy brig had 48 thickness and 2150, I think, side armour, 2100 side armour. Now you do have more cannons, but you've only got the side cannons, unlike the Navy brig. The Navy brig comes also with stern chasers, so rear guns. Now I like to load chain in the rear guns. The cooldown on repairing your sails is really long, it's 15 minutes, which is kind of half a game, and if you get 3 volleys of chain into somebody's sails from your backside, it actually makes quite a difference, and you'll do well out of that. You'll take their speed away, which you need to do in the Navy brig. The Mercury is a pretty good turner at 5.4. The guns, you start getting a little bit exciting in that if you max her out, you can get the 24-pound carronades again. So this is good for face hugging and just making sure you get those kills in a game. With the Merc though, because it does have less side armour, and this is true in general, when you get down to like 2 bubs in the middle and a couple of bubs on the side, it's probably time to try and start surviving so you get to the end of the game. Always fight with your strongest side where you can. Be aware that you know, you're only 2 broadsides away from death on the other side. And on to the next ship, which is probably the greatest disappointment, because it's like your 5th ship. You feel as though you're getting pretty pro now. And the Snow is well named because any heat of battle and this little bugger just melts. So it's fast as, right? 12.95, fastest boat out of the top 6. It's got good turning at 5.52. Nobody's on board. Right, I don't know where the crew have gone. So the crew have buggered off, which is a bit disappointing. 120 crew. No thickness, 39. I mean, 39 is just horrid. It's only slightly better than the cutter. It's worse than the brig. And at 1750 side armour, it's again only the cutter is more pathetic when it comes to side armour. The big advantage is you've got nose and jacksy chasers, so you can do a bit of damage there. Now the problem with the Snow, I guess if you're in completely player on player battles, what the Snow is excellent at is stern camping, turning, running, taking a circle, chaining stuff down, which to win the game is all super important. It's you know, a teammate who wrecks the big boy ship's sails, bangs on their backside, killing cannons. Stern raking is as important for killing cannons as it is for killing crew. Reducing their crew, making them ready for somebody else to board, because it's not going to be you with 120 crew. And I found the snow just to be such a disappointment, because you get points for killing things. You don't get points for being a great player and stern raking and knackering up sails and grabbing up circles and all, and running around and sort of being the busy boy. It's like the little kid on the basketball team, you know, works his arse off, gets hit once by a big fella and he's dead. So I actually really like sailing the snow, but it's crap for earning points. And anyone in the snow will know the first thing you want to do when you get in the snow is get out of it. Now, it can take up to £18 carronades, but if you go face hugging with anybody, basically you're just going to die. Maybe not a cutter. You could probably do a cutter. So you'll see here, I didn't spend any money on crew. I couldn't be bothered doing anything other than getting out of it as quickly as I could. And this one is the slog. I don't like the word grind because I enjoy playing the game a lot. It's really good fun. So grind for me is, you know, it's like when you're making flour, man. It's when you're on the mill and in life is boring. But for me, this was the only one that was the grind, and the reason it's a grind is you just don't get points because it's so hard to get a kill. If you've got good mates, congratulations. What they can do is they can open the side of a ship for you and let you go in and finish it off. You can sort of be HMS kill confirmed. You can sail in, bang a few in, lower down its centre structure and then angle your way out. But it's pretty flat as well. It doesn't have those nice curves that the Navy brigs and the Merc have. If you just look at the profile, look at that. I mean, that's like a football, isn't it? And then look at that, it's like a brick. So the snow looks very pretty, but it's a pile of pants. And now we come to the Guardian of Hell, the absolute beast of these first 6 ships, and it can hold its own against the frigate, and I'm not so sure about against the Essex. Well, it still can because it's got so much health. So first of all, its speed is pretty good. 12.67 puts it up there in the top 2 ships in the game. It can't turn for shit, so you've got to realise that your turning is hoddable. But it does have 13 guns on the broadside. It's got a couple of rear guns as well, which is nice. It's got 195 crew. So across these bottom ships, across the first 6 ships that you sort of find in combat, this thing is a monster with 195 crew. So good one to set up for boarding. But look, this is where it excels. 3,145 side armour. That's if you tied cutters to the side of a snow, that's still 600 more than the snow's armour, and 57 thickness. And although she's quite sort of square, she's got that sort of onion shape. So the side of her hull itself has got a bit of curve to it, but it doesn't really matter because she just bangs, man. And then this is the other thing that is just brutal. This is the first ship in this sort of sequence of ships where you get the 32-pound carronade. So you're pretty much throwing fridges at your enemy. If your mates have just got a brand new Renault or just got a brand new frigate, running out in a Cerb to bring down the matchmaking so you can sail with them, and a pimped out Cerb like this one is well worth it. A couple of my mateys were levelling up from around here, so I basically went out in my beast, and I've got this one set up really for banging in the pain. So I've got a bit of extra speed because 7% turns this into about the fastest ship on the water. Reload time, so you get that lovely machine gun effect. I use the riders and the planking to strengthen the strengths. I'm a big fan of strengthening the strengths of a boat. The magazine, so that I get more of a machine gun. The gun sights, because everybody's drunk. And I've just got tackles on, so I get a slightly quicker reload time. And I don't need as many guys on. It negates the extra gun crews that you need with the gun sights. So that's sort of it for the top 6 ships, the first ships that you're going to find when you're in Legends, in Naval Action Legends. Quick chat about the crew. So the crew level up. These are level 4. That's because I played a lot of games in them. If you do ship down to play with your mates, it's a great way of earning money because you're not buying bits and bobs for your ship. I'm a big fan of gunner for the reload time. I'm a big fan of the ship speed. It does increase the maintenance costs, but who cares? Once if you're shipping down to sail with your mateys, every penny you earn is going to go towards your next set of boats, whereas if you're only progressing, you're always scratching up to sort of buy the next ship. This boat is just beautiful. As soon as you're out of the £6, even the £9 longs, the Cerb with £9 longs at range will be impenetrable to most of the things you're fighting, and £9 longs have got a fantastic penetration, so they're £9 long. I can't show you. I'm trying to show you here, but £9 longs penetrate everything at 250 meters, and most things at 500 meters. Although it's very hard to hit at that range. Later on, when you get the Carrows, they just do crazy bonkers damage. Yeah, so that's it for your bit of an overview to the first half dozen ships you're going to find in Legends. I'd love to hear your comments about how you like to use ships. Maybe you've found a way of earning 1 billion points on the snow. You could give us a comment on that. Until then, give us a like, give us a subscribe. I'll see you on the ocean, and I'll catch you.